Pirate, and that's where we got to start this week's show. It's been a couple weeks since we've really had some Pirates news to talk about, but what a feel-good moment. Like 36 years old at this point. I still think he's going to be able to contribute something. I think if you look at his numbers, he's still going to be able to get on base at one of the better rates on the roster against lefties. And I think he's going to be playing quite a decent bit. Like, I don't think this is just strictly a move to make fans happy, but at the same time, it's obviously going to do that too. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are there on opening day that might otherwise not have been. But I mean, this is just such a feel-good moment for an organization and a franchise that really needed one, bringing Andrew McCutchen back.
Yeah, whether they did it by accident or did it on purpose, they definitely made a positive PR move. And I think that it was much needed and well-timed because it seemed like we were kind of at the tipping point for a lot of Pirates fans and a lot of diehard Pirates fans as well. But I think it's great for even outside of just the PR, like you were saying. I think we had mentioned before that it's good to have for such a young team to be able to have some of that veteran presence. And I mean, a guy like Kutch, you can't really get a better veteran presence for an organization like this than him, because he's the guy who took them to the postseason for that 3-year stretch from 13 to 15, was able to get them out of that losing streak. So who knows, maybe even if he doesn't do it offensively or with his play on the field, he would be able to do it with his leadership in the locker room as well. And it is only on that 1-year deal, but who knows, maybe that it could turn into 1, 2, a couple of years. Maybe he just signs 1-year deals until he decides to retire. Who knows? But I think it's great to see Kutch back in Pittsburgh. Whether it makes the team better on the field or not, I mean, I think it does. But at the same time, I really don't care if it did, just because I think that this is, we talked all last year that you and I really just wanted something to care about watching for, and stuff like that, where some of the younger guys, like whenever O'Neal Cruz came up, to me, Andrew McCutchen and me, and along with pretty much everybody else in Pittsburgh, this is going to be a reason to actually care about the Pirates, because like I said, whether it makes them a better team or not and gets them over that hump, I don't think it'll get them over the hump. I do think it makes them a little bit better of a team. I just think it is such a big move to bring that guy back to the city where it all began. I mean, this actually makes people want to go see the ball club again, whether they're winning or losing.
Yeah, like I mean, opening day is the one that I presented really, but I think that you're going to see fans that going to games that otherwise wouldn't have throughout the season. Typically fans are like, oh, maybe like on a weekend, or like if there's promotional stuff, maybe depending on who the away team is coming to town. But I think bringing Andrew McCutchen back into the fold here, you're going to see fans that otherwise wouldn't have been there being there. I do want to say too, looking at it real quick, I'm not like super optimistic about the team this year. I think they're going to be better than last year, but on paper, like I've seen them do worse. We've seen them do way worse than this. Their projected lineup right now: O'Neal Cruz, Brian Reynolds, Ke'Bryan Hayes, G-Man Choi, Andrew McCutchen, Carlos Santana, Rodolfo Castro, Jack Sawinski, Austin Hedges.
Yeah,
I think they can do a lot worse.
That's not bad. That's not bad, yeah. Especially compared to some of the lineups we've seen the past couple of years. I think they could do a lot worse. And like you were saying, with the people that are going to come out to the ballpark just because, I think that you can see that from, look at when Kutch would come to town whenever he was on an opposing team, and the ovations that Kutch would still get even several years after that trade. Now he's going to get that ovation in black and gold. So I think it's all the more reason to come to the ballpark this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and like we're saying from like a baseball perspective, I think, when you look at what he's still able to do and did on base against lefties, this wasn't just a PR move. I think that this was a baseball move too. I think they desperately needed a bat that could hit lefties, even if that ends up being, so I mentioned Jack Sawinski in there. Maybe it works out where like some other guy pops, like if Endy Rodriguez comes up, but he's not able to play behind the plate, and you throw him out into the outfield sometimes, and you have like McCutchen and Sawinski be a platoon or something like that. Maybe that's the way it works out. You mentioned like it being just a 1-year deal, $5 million. I'm curious if this is going to be it. I think this is definitely the last team he signs with. He's going to finish his career in Pittsburgh, but we could see, an additional year next year. Like, I think this is him saying from his side, because he had more money on the table from the Mets. He had this exact same offer from Minnesota. I think this is him saying, like, I want to finish my career in Pittsburgh, but this is also a really good time because the next couple of years here could be fun when he looks at this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the lineup, that could be the case, and like kind of like what I was saying, like it could just be like 1 year at a time. He could just sign 1 year deals until either the club or himself just doesn't want to play baseball anymore. But hopefully, looking at the lineup that we have and what we've been talking about for years, I know we've been kind of down more recently about the future of this ball club, but like we're hoping that we're getting towards a position where they are competing a little bit more. Whether that happens this year or not, I don't know. But I think that we are looking at with like 2024, maybe that could be the case. So maybe Kutch could be the part of that. I mean, because we always talk about like good teams have those like veteran guys to really be good locker room presence for the whole thing. And that's a guy that's been there and done that, especially in this organization. So yeah, I think this is a great move and could be a great move for the next couple of years.